Hey, 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 hey. Happy Thursday out there, Jeromes. Thank you very much for tuning into the live stream, getting us through, QT, little quarantine action going on, and all the OBJ rumors. Oh, he's coming here to Minnesota. Oh, my goodness. Oh, some dude, Jabroni, who works on the Giants radio network. Yes, I fully understand that OBJ works for used to play for the Giants. Oh, here it is. Oh, my goodness. Oh, loaded, loaded, loaded. It's happening. Okay, man. Yesterday was rough. I mean, just in terms of the entire cycle of how a rumor just like starts small, then all of a sudden, it's like adding gasoline to everything. I mean, even after the fake Glazer tweet, even after the fact that all the beat writers shot it down, both in Cleveland and in Minnesota, and just the fact that people are just holding on to hope, where they're running with the Stephon Diggs. Oh, there's truth to all rumors. Your mom's a whore. Oh, what is the truth to the rumor there, right? And also we have no intention of trading Stephon Diggs or Percy Harvin or Randy Moss at this time. False equivalencies for 8,000, Alex. I mean, come on. But people just want to believe what they want to believe. And also, we love our community here with the Jeromes. I found that the Twitter machine is I found that Facebook fans are So, I mean, just people like bitter clingers, just like, oh, OBJ is coming to the Vikings. Oh, what's going to happen? Okay. And also, well, the thing that bumped me the most, and we said this in our fact or fiction video, is that the compensation, just the second and the future fifth, why is it so low? I mean, yeah, it could be a starting point, but again, that's a starting point. Like, that's what you take as a last option. Again, Antonio Brown, I mean, that trade saga drug out for months, and then the Steelers got a third and a fifth. Like, that's not what you settle for. Well, that is what you settle for. That isn't what you start out right away. I mean, OBJ, for all of his faults and for his big contract, probably could still get a first rounder somewhere. Like, there would be some team somewhere that would be willing to give up a first. Like, honestly, if San Francisco could make it work cap-wise, I could see them giving up 31. Couldn't you? Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Almost too much sense, frankly. So I didn't buy the trade compensation at all. And everyone and their mom going like, well, if you wouldn't trade a second and a fifth for OBJ, you obviously are afraid of greatness. Well, yeah, okay. Like, all right, let's give up a conditional 6th rounder for Aaron Donald. Yeah, if you wouldn't give up a 6th rounder for Aaron Donald, you obviously don't deserve a Super Bowl. Where it's just. It's just nonsense. It's lunacy right now. It is whatever. It is what it is. But again, thank you guys so much for coming along on the stream. Let's see here. We chopping right now. Whatever. Also, if you catch us on demand, you guys are the best. If you want to support the work, hit that little join box, become a monthly or platinum Jerome. Support the channel, support independent work, as we're all just sitting at home trying to find ourselves. There we go. So we'll get into some Q&A. Hopefully it's not all OBJ related, because I mean, until we get something credible, like until there's actually some steak as opposed to just sizzle to these fajitas, All right. So first up, Chris Ryle. Screw OBJ. I'm over selfish players. I understand they're passionate about the game. But I want a Julio Jones or Megatron type wide receiver that's just quiet and just puts up badass numbers. Let their play do the talking. Hashtag my G skull. So let's get a Larry Fitzgerald. Let's get a Adam Thielen type. Let's do that up. Why not? Abs Abdi. Kind of wish the Bills didn't make the playoffs. That we would have an earlier draft pick if we did the same trade deal. Well, yeah. Well, except the greatness of Leslie Frazier as a defensive coordinator would not have been recognized. You better recognize, fool. Next up is A. Clinton 14. Can you dive into Thomason and Zimmer's relationship? Well, Thomason gets a lot of flack. Is he aloof at times? Sure. Is he a good reporter? Is he very well-meaning? Absolutely. But it just seems like Zimmer dislikes the media in general, but like Thomason is like his media monolith, which, if that makes sense. So like Zimmer just dials in on Thomason, and like, is there respect there? Sure. Is there love there? No. But yeah. John Q. What are the odds Brian O'Neill could be a solid left tackle, move Reef in the guard. Why hasn't this scenario been thrown around more? Well, it hasn't been thrown around because I think there's just a ton of moving parts with it, where we have talked about it before, that Brian O'Neill did play left tackle at Pitt after playing some right tackle earlier on in Pittsburgh. So it would make sense. Is it something that you want to mess with the footwork and the dexterity? Maybe, maybe not. As well as, the value of a left tackle, it is still slightly more than right tackle, but certainly evened out as teams have been starting to move. It's like, oh, hey, their left tackle is really good. Let's rush our best pass rusher from the right then. So, teams are rushing premier edge guys from both sides. If the Vikings landed a guy like Tristan Wirfs, just for conversation, right? So they land Tristan Wirfs. He has played left tackle before at Iowa. In fact, as recently as last year. But if they see him as a right tackle, then you move Brian O'Neill over the left tackle because you're not going to kick Brian O'Neill inside. Do you cut Reef or do you kick him inside? That is a possibility. But I think that would be more of like a last resort in terms of what the Vikings want to do. Would they much rather land an Andrew Thomas, put him a left tackle? Sure. Even a Becton? Sure. Even Jedrick Wills, who I think would be a phenomenal left tackle? Yes, absolutely. Hold on. End this rendering of the video. So we got yet another mock draft video that's rendering right now, but it's taking up a ton of resources. So screw that for right now. Next up is Maddox Maloney. What do you think about drafting the two TCU products, 22-25, Jalen Reagor and Gladney? I would love it. Man. Mainly because they're just two alphas that get after. I think Reagor would be amazing as an after-catch guy. Gladney is a ball hawk, just an alpha male, just a very uber competitive dude, and I would not mind it in the slightest. How did TCU not win more games? Because they also got Blacklock and Lucas Niang, who I think is really underrated player as well. So, whatever. Next up is Nate Sanford. Do you think AP breaks Emmitt Smith's career rushing record if he didn't have those couple of injured/suspension seasons? Well, the injury one, he was injured like week 13 or 14 in 2011. But yeah, Adrian, let's look. PFR, Adrian Pearson, there we go. And also PFR all-time rusher. All right, so as of right now, Adrian's fifth on the all-time rushing list with 14,216. Emmitt has 18 and change, so Adrian's about 43, 42 and change yards behind. And Adrian missed all of 2014 except for one game because of reasons. And then... 2011, got 12 games in before he tore that ACL, and then he came back, had the 2,000-yard season. So, it would be close. So, say 2014, give Adrian 1,500, actually 1,200 just for ease of math. So, he'd still be 3,000 yards behind the 8 ball. If you gave him the rest of 2011, add in, another 500, so 2,500. So, 2,500 to catch Emmitt Smith. Could he do it in 2 years? Probably not at this rate. Take him 3 or 4. Is he really going to play until he's 38? Of course, Adrian Peterson is a physical freak, so maybe not. I don't know. But Emmitt Smith, for us included, we just sort of gloss over like how great he was because he was behind the best offensive line football in a very heavy run for his team with Jimmy Johnson back in the day in those Super Bowl teams. So, he led the league in rushing 4 years in a row, and not in a row, but 4 out of 5 years. He also had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He had 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and if you want to extrapolate it, he had 13 straight 900-plus yard seasons, which is just amazing. Plus, at age 35, he had a 900-yard season in Arizona, where a very piddly yards per attempt at 3.5, which is not great. But the fact that he was able to do that was pretty amazing. Plus, remember, he broke the rushing record. He broke Walter Payton's record as a Cowboy. I believe it was either 2000 or 2001. All right, so that happened, and then he went to Arizona for 3 years, and then piled up, 2,000 more yards just to try and put that record out of reach. So I I actually would say that if there was one record that will probably never be broken, it's the rushing record, just because of the nature of the position now, and just because there is a lot more running back by committee. And also teams just aren't running the ball as much as they used to. So I could see that. Plus, also the interception record will never be broken, because Paul Krause played in an era where even a good quarterback would throw 15 picks and like 18 touchdowns. Yeah. All right, so we got $5 in the super chat. John Ogachita Gordon. See, they were talking about OBJ and the Vikings on First Take. Agree with both Stephen A. and Max. Never say never. Okay. Also, let us know where you're watching from. And apologies if the stream is buffering a little bit. We are efforting on our end to see what is going on. But, of course, everyone's at home on the old interwebs. What can you do there? Let us know where you're watching from. Give a couple shout-outs here in the show. So next up, Vikings Lobo. 3-tech on the D-line needs to be addressed. Who would you like the Vikings to draft? Well, Kinlaw would be amazing. I don't think that they're going to get Derek Brown. I mean, yeah. In terms of like the second tier guys, I like Justin Matabuke from Texas A&M. I like Jordan Elliott from Mizzou. I like Marlon Davidson from Auburn. Just imagine like Brown and Davidson together. That's pretty sexy. He didn't play 3-tech, but I think he could kick inside situationally. James Lynch out of Baylor. He played edge rusher for them. I think he could kick inside too. And there are a bunch of interesting names. Cheesy27. Can you do a video on Chris Boyd, specifically Week 17 against the Bears, Allen Robinson? Yeah, we could do that. I mean, there's going to be a lot of offseason. Maybe a lot of offseason because of the Rona. Sam Woodward. If there's a Jordan Love at 22, could you see us moving down and getting a decent return? I can see Jaguars, Colts, Raiders need a quarterback. We did a video on this last week about 22 could be really valuable for the Vikings, because looking at 23 and the Patriots potentially could be in for a quarterback, or teams may, even if the Patriots aren't in on a quarterback, teams may see them potentially being in on a quarterback, so they could move up to 22 and get Jordan Love. Maybe even Justin Herbert falls that fall too. There you go. All right, couple shout outs. Skull from Isle of Wight, UK. Ian Goddard, you're the man. Jack Ziski, Skull from Arden Hills as well. Matt S., who is a monthly Jerome. Baker Lake in Nunavut, Canada. Wait a minute. So that's way up there. Shoot. All right, so thank you guys for watching. This is good for me, too. I mean, just having the schedule, come in 11 a.m. Central Time every single day, rock it out, hour of content, talk a little junk. Alex Van Skurskum from Sheldon, Iowa. Mispronounce names. That's what we do up in here. Then do a mock draft and then have lunch. So there you go. Next up is Sam Becker. Let's say that Logan Ryan's still a free agent after the draft. What would you say the chances we pick him up? Well, we talked about just because of how compensatory picks factor in, and the Vikings aren't going to be in line for some nice in 2021. Logan Ryan, expiring contract with the Titans, would count against that. So the compensatory pick window where signing or cutting guys, or not cutting, but signing guys would count against you, ends usually about a week after the draft. So I think that there will be a tertiary wave of free agency comes in. I think Logan Ryan will be in demand. So say the Vikings don't get, are pretty thin at cornerback, or don't get like an Amik Robertson from Louisiana Tech. So a guy that you wouldn't, they don't get a guy that they would trust in the slot from day one. Logan Ryan would make a lot of sense. Seth V. Herman. How long do you think we have before news breaks that Dalvin is going to hold out and we trade him? Well, has been a little bit of scuttlebutt that he could hold out. Now, could the Vikings pick up a day 3 running back and maybe get a little bit of leverage on those talks? For sure. But yeah, I think that once we get past the fake OBJ rumors, the truth of every rumor, okay, then getting into like the whole Dalvin contract situation, I think is going to be the topic du jour of the offseason. Also, a couple more shout outs. Joe Forcia, Stillwater. Love Stillwater. Stillwater's a great town. What else here? Logan DeGraff, Skull from Rapone, California. Logan is pretty much a daily watcher. Thank you very much for that. Let's see here. Austin area, Skull from Alexandria, from Minnesota. Alex is just a great town. Ellis Gregor, Carrington, North Carolina, Jimmy Kleinsasser's hometown. Doesn't Kleinsasser like own like a big part of North Dakota? Like, didn't Kleinsasser get in on some oil money too? Which would just be great, phenomenal. There you go. All right, next up is Isaac Ruprecht. Do you think Alexander Madison could be our new starting run back if Cook extension happened? Also, can you chug a 4 Loko during the draft? We did a video about Madison potentially being RB1. I think he could do a degree, but he does need a little bit of supplementation. Also need to work on pass blocking and chug a 4 Loko during the draft. I mean, if the Vikings land Andrew Thomas, I will chug a 4 Loko. We will do that up. I will go to the liquor store in mask and gloves, get a 4 Loko, and chug it if the Vikings somehow acquire Andrew Thomas, because he's my guy, my freaking guy. Jack Ziski. If the Vikings draft Antoine Winfield Jr., keeping Harris as well, do you think they would utilize him as strong safety, free safety, nickel, dime player? Yes. Yes to all of those. Also playing in the slot as well. That's what is really appealing about Winfield, is that you do have some questions about the health for sure, but the versatility is really big, where he can play in the box, he can play a single high, he can play in the slot, he can play outside corner as well. I mean, that's one of the big pluses about him. Plus, he just gets after it. Like, in terms of tenacity, he is really a lot like his dad in that respect, which is great. Mr. Popo was watching the game when the Vikings played the Cards Week 17, the year of the push-off. Oh, so 02-03, like the Nathan Poole, who went to Marshall, teammate of Randy Moss. No! How pissed were you? Didn't they change the rule because that, just like the overtime game in the 9? Yeah, so that was the... Oh, push out rule. So that was back when, I mean, referees already have so much on their plate, but before, players, if they didn't get 2 feet in, it could be ruled that they were pushed out, so that they would have conceivably gotten 2 feet in. So the Nathan Poole play against Arizona, Josh McCown, Arizona, knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. That whole thing, right? And it was actually Paul Allen's first year of being the radio announcer. So that's when you get the famous Paul Allen. Now, like, we would show the clip, except we would get kicked off of the live stream. So, Vikings, Cardinals, Nathan Poole. Yeah, so we'll just bring up a picture. It's like Time Life magazine. There you go. Oh yeah, Brian Russell, the Great White Hope, as well as Walker. Gosh, what was his name? Something Walker. But yeah, so this is the play. People know the play. Nathan Poole, blah, blah, blah. Delaney, no, it wasn't Delaney Walker. It wasn't Chris Dishman. Frank Walker? No. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, the rule, because you see, he only gets 1 foot down. So the rule used to be that you could get 1 foot down or even no feet down, but if it was likely that you're going to come down inbounds, if someone didn't push you out, then it would still count, which is just such a moronic rule. It really is. Plus, also, like my favorite anecdote from that is that, so Pete Bursich, who's Paul Allen's partner now on, calling games on the radio, he, former Vikings linebacker, was also a coach on that team. And after the game, like, he was super down because there's like a playoff bonus for the coaches. It was like 10 grand, 20 grand, something like that. So not only did you have that gut-wrenching loss, it's like, man, you lost out on 20 grand? Shoot, that's rough. Next up is DG. Maybe offer Cook a shorter 2-year extension. Extension with solid guarantee up front, so we don't overinvest long-term and higher money. I mean, yeah, that would be nice, but also, why would he take that? It's sort of like yin and yang thing, where it's sort of like Todd Gurley too, where, yeah, big upfront guarantees, and the fact that after they cut him, the Rams are still on the hook for a big chunk of money. So, I mean, yeah, it would be great if players signed very team-friendly deals for lower than market rate. But again, players getting their money, why would they agree to it? It doesn't make sense. DG Snippets. Thoughts on Ben Barsh, the Minnesota kid out of St. John's, one-time third-round project. I would like him. I would not like him as the first offensive lineman off the board for the Vikings. So, say he is an intriguing tackle prospect. You do worry about the jump in competition. as well as he does need to fill out physically. Like, he really is on par with Trey Pipkins, who was the small school guy last year out of Sioux Falls. Ended up going third round to the Chargers. And a lot of the similar issues where you do like the pass sets. He does look like he does look the part in terms of being a left tackle at the NFL level. But if he's the first offensive lineman off the board for the Vikings, a guy that you would expect to contribute right away, I don't see that. I think he needs at least a year, probably 2, NFL strength program, NFL competition day in, day out to really suture himself up. But they got Cesar Ruiz in the second round. So he comes in at one of the guard spots. You're going to be good to go. Then they get Ben Barsh at, say, 105. So you have your left tackle project for the future. You have an immediate starter right away in Cesar Ruiz. I would be okay with that. Eric Normal. Who was better pass coach, Childress or Tice? Well, Childress does get a bad rep, mainly because that he just wasn't good dealing with people. And, a couple of decisions, yes. 12 men, yes. There's a reason why he got fired 10 games after going to the NFC title game, for sure. But also, Mike Tice was a player's coach, bit of a meathead, but I think that he gets a bad rap as well because he did not have a lot to work with. Like, he was the coach during the Red McCombs era where they were cheap, they were bad ownership, they were cutting back everywhere. And, Tice, he took the job because it was one of 32 jobs. But during the Red McCombs era, it was akin. The Vikings were the Browns in terms of internal front office dysfunction. Now, the Wilfs came in and they turned everything around. I think it's been very stable up front. They've hired good people and kept good people at the executive level. But, if Tice was given what Zimmer was given, would he have similar success? It's tough to say. But Tice did get handed, after the resignation, the opting out of Denny Green, his firing. He did get a bad hand. There you go. MJ23. What's your thoughts on Kirk saying he wouldn't have a problem playing football games without people in stands? Thanks. Oh, we did a video on this today. It's something that all quarterbacks believe. And don't believe for a second that they don't believe that, they would love to play in front of the crowds because of the energy and the pomp and circumstance. Baloney. Shut up when we're on offense, and also on the road, shut up. There you go. So Kirk was saying what quarterbacks all feel, but you can't say that because you look super soft. And I don't think he meant it that, hey, I don't appreciate the paying customers who pay my salary that come to the games, which some people took it. The fact that he had to backtrack and quasi apologize today would just speaks to the recreational outrage culture. But Wartag 299 in super chat. Have you ever heard the band Beach House? I have not. We'll put it on the list of bands to check out. Thomas Danielson, thoughts on taking a second? Hold on. RB second, third, or fourth round. I know we were good right there. And now Cook. I would be fine. Swift is probably going to be gone. I don't really think Taylor's going to pan out in the NFL. I think he just took too many carries in college. J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State is probably going to be out of range for the Vikings, but he's intriguing. But Cam Akers from Florida State is intriguing. I like Zach Moss out of Utah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU, just in terms of a great receiving back. Really strikes my fancy as well. I love J.J. Taylor from Arizona. Dynamite. You know this. But yeah, with 12 picks, I would not be upset if the Vikings took a running back at all. Plus, with the Dalvin situation hanging over their heads. Yeah. Mac. Where would T. Higgins and Denzel Mims be ranked among the 2019 wide receiver prospects, assuming they were going in the 2019 draft? All right, well, let's take a look. All right, okay, 2019 NFL draft. All right. Man, that was I forgot. So Higgins and N'Keal Harry were the only 2 first-round picks. Debo was an early second-rounder. I really like Debo coming out of South Carolina. A.J. Brown fell. J-Jaw fell. Oh yeah, I forgot that Andy Isabella went before DK, which is kind of funny. Deontay Johnson is legit, by the way. I love Deontay Johnson. Jalen Hurd had a bit of a lost season because he got hurt, but Terry McLaurin, man, Terry McLaurin would easily be the wide receiver one in this class. Probably go top 10 if they did a redraft. Miles Boykin, height, weight, speed specimen. Hakeem Butler, who, whatever. So whatever. Gary Jones Jr. I think Higgins would be the wide receiver one in this class. I really do. Where most wide receiver classes, like, he would not be buried. Like, Higgins may be a second round pick, and that's actually kind of sad because if you're trying to pick apart his game, like, he doesn't really have glaring holes. Like, there are certainly areas of his game where he could use some freshening up on, as well as you wonder, like, how much of it was Trevor Lawrence, etc. But I mean, dude's legit. Just in terms of height, weight, speed, polished route runner, very solid hands, massive catch radius. I mean, I get why people are enamored with Denzel Mims because of height, weight, speed, but also you have questions about the route running and the hands, even though apparently played with a broken hand in 2018. That answers a lot of questions about production there. But man, if you're in on the height, weight, speed, physical freak guy, why aren't you in on T. Higgins? Where I do like Higgins more than Mims, because I think he is a better. I think he does have just as high of a ceiling and is a safer bet. I think he has a much higher floor than Mims. So for me in this class, Higgins would be wide receiver one. Mims would be somewhere. All right, so it would go Higgins. It would go Debo. It would go Hollywood Brown. You go maybe DK. And then Denzel Mims will be in that gambling type mix. There you go. But good question. I like that one. Next up is if Becton is available at 15, I trade up and get him. Kick Reef over to guard. Still got Bradbury at center, draft Jones Jackson, and right tackle. I mean, in terms of the big four tackles, I do worry about Becton the most. I think he does have great upside, but you would like to see him dominate more at Louisville. But you really can't ignore those physical traits. So, I mean, yeah, if he gets by the Buccaneers at 14, I mean, that would be super tempting to go up and get him, wouldn't it? Yeah. Henrik Byerlev. Plus, everyone knows my love of Joe and Jackson. Henrik Byerlev. If we trade up and get one of the top 3 receivers, is there any way we keep one of our first rounders? It'd be awesome to see young Buck work under Thielen. Blah blah blah. So he's talking about trading up without giving up both 22 and 25. Maybe if one of them gets past 14 on the Bucks, or gets to 14 in the Bucks, I think that would be a really obvious trade-up spot, because I think the Broncos are really dialed in on wide receivers. So if one of them gets to 14, maybe. Could Josh Jones start day one? I believe so. I absolutely believe so. I love Josh Jones. I love Ezra Cleveland in terms of specifically for what the Vikings want to do. I would start both of them day one. I do like them because I think they are a little bit more finished product than, say, an Austin Jackson, where Jackson certainly has a sky-high ceiling, especially given that he's young, that he's 20. But I do worry about Jackson, how he played in some of the big USC games. Like, he just got absolutely mauled at times. So that's why I give the edge over Josh Jones, even though you do worry about level of competition. But you did see how he reacted. He had a great 2019 season when Holgerson came in. Joel Kuhn. You're the Browns general manager in the 2018 draft after an 0-16 season. Based on what we've seen from the players in the draft, where you're doing at number 1 overall, team trade down. I mean, I still like Baker. I'm not ready to give up on him. Love to see what Stefanski will do with him, especially if they keep OBJ. Actually, we should double check, because we have the stream is already famous, even though we've only been doing it for like 3 or 4 weeks of news breaking while we're on stream. All right, so Charles Robinson. I chased the Odell Beckham Jr. trade talk. I was told unequivocally the Vikings haven't had any trade discussions with the Browns about Beckham Jr. No one calls about Beckham Jr. and no discussion of trade compensation. As the Sun Browns do not have. All right, sorry, but. All right, so I got both up on screen. So Charles Robinson works for Yahoo, who actually sort of made his bones in the Adrian Peterson situation, I believe. So Charles Robinson tweeted this out. I chased the Odell Beckham Jr. trade talk. I was told unequivocally the Vikings haven't had any trade discussions with the Browns and Beckham Jr. No one calls about Beckham Jr. No one discussions on trade conversations, blah, 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 blah. As an aside, the Browns do not have Beckham Jr. on the trade block. But there's truth to every rumor. Okay. It does just seem like just trying to create something out of nothing, which happens in news. You see that a lot, but yeah, whatever. All right, so next up is actually, what were we talking about? Oh, man, could you imagine if the Vikings took Lamar Jackson at 30? I mean, if they didn't go after Kirk Cousins in that year's free agency, and they just went with Lamar at 30, I mean, Abza Abdi. Who's your favorite comedian? Well, Chappelle for me is the OG, yeah, especially some of his newer specials. Like the one where he got called out by the PC police. I mean, this is great. Like people, not going to get it, but people certainly are overly sensitive nowadays. Favorite comedian? Mitch Hedberg, Pride of St. Paul, RIP. It's phenomenal. Let's see here. I always love Chris Rock. Chris Rock is great. Burt Kreischer is really good. Tom Segura is phenomenal. Like the entire Joe Rogan crew is really, really good. Chris D'Elia is great. Ali Wong. Ali Wong is friggin' hilarious. I love her. Also, she's a writer on the show Fresh Off the Boat, which is great too. And Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz is a flippin' murderer. He's just absolutely an assassin. All right, so sometimes if we're just doing stuff here or watching film or whatever on the show, sometimes I'll put on music, sometimes I'll just put on stand-up. And I can't work listening to Joey Diaz because he will. Do you ever get to a spot where you laugh so hard that you just can't function? Like that's Joey Diaz for me. Like there will be some premises, some punchlines that he just delivers that just slay, just absolutely destroy. Yeah. Johnny Green, if you was the GM and you could go back in time and don't resign Kirk, but go after Cam Newton instead, would you? I don't know, man. Kirk is dead, or not Kirk. Cam Newton's dead. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. But Kirk played extremely well at times last year. You look at October, you look at the Saints game, not so much the Niners game, but there was #reasons there. Riley Reef is a big one. But Cam Newton is borderline deceased. I am worried about Cam. Next up is Kaiser Helm 14. Should we extend Cook 3 years if he stays healthy next year? Yeah, that's my entire premise. That get to 2020. If he replicates what he did in 2019, if he stays healthy, whatever. Actually, I would go down the route of playing the franchise tag game with him, where I'm still not sold. I'm worried mainly about running backs. But if he's able to do that, great. Tag him again. There you go. Ryan O'Sullivan, better movie, Good Will Hunting or Shawshank Redemption? Shawshank. I mean, I respect Good Will Hunting. Not really my cup of tea. But Shawshank, whenever it's on TV, like TNT, if you're scrolling through, you just put that on. You could jump in wherever you are in the movie. It's one of those where it's just oh, I'm in. Oh, he's got the beer scene. Oh, he's going to throw him off the roof. Oh, red. Maybe it's because I'm Irish. Maybe it's because of my red hair. Yeah, because Red was a white Irish dude in the Stephen King novel. But I love Morgan Freeman. He's so good in that movie. Man, it's a good movie. Julian Watron. Hell, it's probably on now. Turn it on. AMC, TNT, BVD, whatever. Julian Watron. Should we consider trading Dalvin Cook? If you get it early too, maybe. Landon Miller, even though the trade rumors are false, could the Vikings see the rumor and be convinced to trade for a big name receiver? I don't know who else would be available out there. Number 2, who would you take in a fight, Danielle Hunter or Eric Kendricks? Danielle, because he's got the reach. I mean, he's got the reach. Also, he's heavier by about 30 pounds. So, yeah. Brian, yeah. Although I think sneaky Kendricks would be pretty damn solid. He would. Brian Yans, do you watch anime? No. My friend Oker, don't care for it. Show gives me nostalgia, high school, college. There you go. Brett Vuvuzelis. You think if we draft a quarterback this year, he will be our future quarterback? Given that God King, Tim Pod dictator Kirk Cousins is the de facto GM, probably not. Because I think if he allows the Vikings to draft a quarterback, it'll be late. Although if it is Mason, fine. Let's go. Stanley Maros. My 2.5-year-old loves the opening music and graphics. Oh, for the show? Awesome. Big shout out. Scholar in training. Sits with me and watches the videos, so capture the younger audience attention. Shout out to you, Stanley. Stanley, by the way, I see the check mark. Is a monthly or platinum. Jerome, hit that join box and join Stanley and be really cool. And also like his kid. You're the best. Shout out to the kid, too. Kaiser Helm 14. If we got OBJ somehow, alternate universe, how many times do you think OBJ would be in Cousins' face? Every single game. All right. OBJ, it's not so much diva for being a diva's sake. It's that he, like most receivers, he just really wants to win. Like him and Diggs are similar in that respect, where you saw that he was pretty happy early on with the Giants when Eli wasn't a corpse. They were doing some things. It's great. So he likes winning. He likes being on a big stage. Also, you look at OBJ at LSU, like when he wasn't a problem there. But when things started getting bad with the Giants, he started acting up. Shocker. As well as last year with the Browns. I mean, Freddie Kitchens was just massively in over his head, and then he became very arrogant in his like petty tyrantness. So you can see why those complete mess there. Now, could Stefanski soothe things out? If he installs a great offense, OBJ is the centerpiece. The Browns actually win some games. All of a sudden, OBJ is a happy camper. Certainly could be the case as well. A. Clinton 14. Eddie Yarbrough, the OG 52. Is he wearing 52? Doesn't matter. Why don't similar players like Holton Hill and Anthony Harris get love from Zimmer, yet Zabroni like Hughes does? Hughes is a great player. And I don't know. I think Zimmer was just more throwing shade at the safety position just because he's trying to like cope with Vikings potentially not hanging on to Harris. And Holton Hill's always in his doghouse because Holton Hill does stupid things, mainly off the field. Ryan Topper. Thoughts if they trade Anthony Harris to the Giants for 39 as 7th and get Winfield at 39? I mean, if you could tell me right now that you could swappy Anthony Harris for Antoine Winfield Jr., even though I love Anthony Harris, I would do it just for money as well as age. Yeah. Then Logan Ryan, Tony Jefferson is used first round. Josh Jones, Ezra Cleveland, and Ross Blacklock. I mean, Blacklock in the first. That's a little thin. All right. So sign Logan Ryan, draft Josh Jones, and then also pick up Gladney or Johnson at cornerback. Why not? Zach Ballas. How's your life changed with the second kiddo? Any advice going from 1 to 2? Well, frankly, we got a little bit spoiled because our first one was just amazing. Like she is a rock star. She was extremely easy to raise. Second one doesn't sleep, so that certainly throws a wrench in things. But I mean, he just is like the sweetest little dude ever. Freaking hilarious, by the way. So I don't know. Maybe just anecdotally, we're sort of a bad example because I mean, overall, like I know that some parents say that the jump from 1 to 2 is actually greater than 0 to 1. And then it just sort of exponentially gets easier after that because eventually the kids start, they get herd immunity. Like they start playing with each other, watching each other, etc. But I would say once you have 2, like you and the missus should definitely, or a couple should definitely think about if they want more, right? Because the jump from 1 to 2 is very big. But the jump from 2 to 3, when you go from man-to-man to zone defense, I mean, that's a pretty big leap. But I would say 2's not so bad. Abs Abdi. I want to take a shot in the dark and trade for John Ross. No. Kyle Rippentrop. Could you do a video on how you form a draft profile over the college guys? Well, we could do a video. My general process, it's not a traditional textbook process, but so watch college football just sort of casually as a fan in the fall, which is great, and then just start picking out guys that either seniors or guys that are going to be very likely to declare. And then, try and find as much film on them, specifically try and find some all-22 as opposed to some of the YouTube highlights. And like we said yesterday, there are sites and services that are maybe a little bit don't want to promote, but I'm able to get my mitts on some really decent stuff. And overall, you go from the school of what can a player do as opposed to what they can't do, because I think that's a smarter way to go about it. It's like, oh, this guy can't do this, but what can we actually ask him to do? And then just in terms of, so it's easier for me because I was thinking from a Vikings perspective. So I give a lot of respect to some of the more macro draft guys who just make a general draft board. So specifically looking for what the Vikings are looking for, that's an easy place to start. So then you look at traits on offensive linemen that they're going with the zone blocking scheme. You look at patterns with what Rick Spielman has traditionally looked for at various stages of the draft. I mean, he does tend to go with the more freakish athletes early, a little bit safer guys in the middle, aside from Daniel Hunter, and then dart throws late. And that could be sometimes it's character guys, sometimes it's medical guys, sometimes it's guys that tweener guys that don't check the boxes. I mean, look at Fadio Denebo, that seemed to work out pretty well, as well as defensively. I mean, Zimmer does tend to like longer, lengthier corners and like this at this position, that and there. So I mean, that's pretty much what we go through. And you look at the highlights, you look at some of the, not highlights of like the players, but some of the highlights of what the potential draft class could be. You look at, again, working from a single team, you look at potential positions of the need, so you go really hammer there. So it's why we've done a lot of work on tackles, interior offensive line, and cornerbacks, wide receivers, as opposed to haven't really done a lot of work on edge guys, besides big highlight guys, or haven't really done a lot of work on linebackers because we got Barr and Kendrick. So that's just sort of how we go about it. But is it perfect? No, absolutely not. But everyone's process is a little bit different. Pulford Skull. Oh, also on players, I like getting into like the backgrounds, like the recruiting profile, if they've had any off the field college issues, what their major is, did they graduate, what was their GPA, were they a team captain, were they a team captain in high school? Just like going down the full on rabbit hole of like almost psychological profiling is something I really enjoy. Pulford Skull. Drafts 1 week away. Bold predictions. Miami moves up and takes Tua. Ooh, ships out Rosen. Washington takes quarterback. Ships out Haskins. Ooh. Bengals move out of one. Sam Cam and Andy Dalton finds goes to New England. That would be nuts. That would be absolutely bat bleep insane. But I'm looking forward to it. Jack Ziski. If either Judy or Ruggs the third dropped to Lamb dropped to 17, would you trade up in the draft? Yes. Interest could lead to possible business war between Vikings and Eagles. Could drive the price? Yes. Nehemiah Harrington. Little Debbie Nutty Bars or oat cream pies? I'm really like a big sweet snacks guy. Like I'm a big savory and salty snacks guy, but I would say Nutty Bars. There you go. Yeah, I'm not Nick Saban. Nick Saban is like he's a straight up weirdo. Like he eats the same thing every single day. Go look this up. He has like 2 like Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies. And for lunch, he always has like a bland lettuce salad with like deli turkey on it. Like he probably pisses in mason jars and like saves them too. A little bit worried. Ty, fun time. Any way you'd want to trade up in the first? Well, if one of the big 3 receivers starts falling, sure. If Andrew Thomas starts falling, yes. Maybe Kinlaw. Maybe. If CJ Henderson starts tipping a little bit, go do that up. Yeah. Cyberbully 123. If players could wear 3-digit numbers, what number would you pick? 666. Noodle 130. Do you trade up for a higher pick if Judy drops to around 13? Yes. And also, do you know when the NFL schedule drops? Well, let's look that up. 2020 NFL schedule. Because usually it sort of comes out of nowhere. All right, so it says May 9th. That's a few weeks later than the typical release because of the Rona. So there you go. And that was from April 6th. So that was from 10 days ago from Sporting News. So there you go. Next up is Thomas Danielson. Also, which Minnesota and non-Minnesota athlete do you miss watching compete the most right now? All right, so current guys, or are we talking about guys that don't play anymore? Or guys that aren't playing because of the Rona? Which Minnesota athlete? I miss watching. I miss watching Kevin Garnett. I do. I mean, but also, here's a name for you back in the day. So I used to be like a big Gophers basketball fan when I was a kid. Like Joel Prisbilla was a bad man. Like the pride of Monticello. He was just coming in and he was just jack. Like this is the era when the Gophers were getting like all the tall white dudes. So this is after Sam Jacobson and Bobby Jackson and Courtney James and Miles Mustache Tarver. Yeah, Eric Harris. This is when it was like Rick Rickert and Chris Humphries Kardashian were coming through the barn. Yeah, but Joel Prisbilla was a bad mofo. Just like, actually, can we bring up Joel Prisbilla college stats? Because he washed out in the pros, which is whatever. All right, so Joel Prisbilla college stats. He only played with the Gophers for 2 years, but the game logs. I just want to look at the blocks. Oh, one game log. Is that what's happening? Such a bad beat. Anyways, that's but college stats. Look at his like points per game. So Joel Prisbilla averaged 3 and 3.9 blocks per game, which by the way is absolutely bat bleep insane. All right, so his sophomore year averaged 14.2 a game. He averaged 14.2 and where's rebounds? 14, 2, and 8 rebounds a game, and he averaged almost 4 blocks a game, which is just absolutely insane. It's like, get out of here. Non-Minnesota athlete. I don't know. I was like watching Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders is legit. Like Mike Trout. Whenever he's up bat, it's pretty insane. Also, this wasn't by design, but so we'd always go to a handful of Twins games a year. It would always end up being like the Angels for some reason. But so it was fun, like watching Pujols and Mike Trout. We say watch like it was something from yesteryear, but I guess it sort of is this year. I do have serious doubts if baseball is going to be back this year. Next up is Black Bear 207. No more we got left. I know we have the licks to make the move, but what about his salary? And I heard the extension. Oh, we're talking about OBJ. Yeah. Well, we basically covered everything in the. I think we did 3 OBJ videos yesterday, which one of them was from Brady Quinn, and I didn't know it was actually going to break out into legitness. Now we got to look if like something actually broke. Oh, Schefter weighed in. Oh, there we go. All right, so Schefter just like dropped the hammer. Like this is as close to dropping a hammer as Schefter. So again, we were saying like we want to hear from the national guys, and he quote tweeted the Charles Robinson one of like nothing. So Schefter times 2. Like fine, can we end this now? And there is your dagger. There you go. I mean, it was fun while it lasted. Like, it was a fun 24-hour story. But the fact that, because we talked about the fact that Cowherd just like doubled and tripled down so hard because he just wanted it to be true. Because there's a difference between being on radio and having to get ratings as opposed to just being an insider. So Schefter doesn't have to do anything for ratings, right? So he can just report the straight dope, which is what he does. But if you're Cowherd and you got to fill 3 to 4 hours every single day, 5 days a week, you need something to talk about. It's just like it's like us to a degree on the live stream. Like, how much have we talked about OBJ today? And we did a full video saying that it's probably not true. So the fact that I get pissed off. Anyways, Alfred Percy. Diggs and Thielen were considered by some 1A, 1B wide receiver group as opposed to 1. Thielen be sold 1. Yeah, Thielen's going to be sold 1. Like, even if they get Judy, Ruggs, or Lamb, they are going to be an apprentice and understudy for a hot second. As well as, BC, I think could round into a nice 2. I think Sharp could be a nice 2-3 as well. Ryan, but yeah, Thielen is going to be the numero uno for a while. Ryan Topper. Also, what if we trade Dalvin to Miami for 39.56 and take Dobbins to be a Madison? I mean, yeah, I don't see them getting 39 and 56. Maybe 39. Maybe. Skull Vikings 33. What teams do you think the Vikings should attempt to trade up with if they want to? Tampa does make sense. Even though, yeah, that was the initial like OG rumor. Oh, Vikings trading up to 14 to get a wide receiver. Niners at 13 could make a lot of sense. I do think they break down one of those first rounders, 13 or 31, to get multiple picks because they don't have a second, third, or fourth. Maybe the Browns at 10, but only if it includes OBJ. DG. What kind of trade value do you actually think Cook and Harris have? Would it be too crazy to conceive them actually doing it? Harris, I think they just have to do better than a third-round compensatory pick in 2021 in terms of like overall value. Cook is probably a second at best. Abza Abdi, which division has piqued your interest the most? AFC West, I'm intrigued what the Raiders are going to do, especially now that they moved. I mean, the Broncos, is Drew Lock the guy? I don't know. Obviously, they have Mahomes in Kansas City. And the Chargers, I mean, if the Chargers get Tua, that gets really interesting. DG Snippets. If you only had 5 snacks for the rest of your life, which ones would you eat? I would eat salt and vinegar chips. Well, like kettle chips are really like jalapeno kettle chips. They would be up there. Let's say like almonds up there for sure. Oh, popcorn, like bar popcorn where it's like popped in like the oil and with the salt already in. It's really good. Also, so relish trays, like a fruit tray where you have like your broccoli and your tomatoes and your mushrooms and your cucumbers and whatnot. And then you got like the ranch dip. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? Like, even if you're not a healthy person, like I'm convinced like 70% of the world's broccoli are consumed in those trays because no one eats broccoli on a regular basis except for when it's in those trays. And they just like full on with the ranch. That and, apple with peanut butter, like a nice Honeycrisp apple with peanut butter. There you go. Stanley Maros. So we did the gamut of not so great snacks to some pretty okay snacks. Stanley Maros. His girlfriend did a mock. Chase Young went to the Vikings 22. I'll take it. Burrows went 10 to the Browns. Matt Hennessy to Miami 5. Oh, so she just went by the names? It's kind of funny. So it's sort of like when people don't know anything about basketball, which I include myself now, by the way. Oh, we didn't even have March Madness? That sucks. But, they win just by filling out, like, which team has the best colors or which team has the best mascot. There you go. Stanley Maros. What's your favorite app game to play and pass the time on your phone? So I play backgammon a lot. So there's a app where you can play backgammon against the computer. I really like backgammon. Just it's a really good game. Nate Fremstead. What is your spirit animal? And also, what's the Viking spirit animal? So my spirit animal, I like the, there's something at the zoo that we always point out. So it's something called it's spelled D-H-O-L-E. So D-hole, which I don't know if that's good. Correct one. All right, so there you go. D-hole, but it's called Asian wild dog. That'd be me. I mean, look at that. Looks like a fox. There you go. So that's me. Viking spirit animal. What slips on a banana peel all the time? Or no, the Viking spirit animal will be Eeyore. Oh, there you go. Mason Large, Anthony Harris update. None. Cyberboy123. Who's producer Allie? Producer Allie is like the rock star, takes care of her social media and stuff. Also my confidant. Also my girl Friday. Also head of HR at this corporation. T-Rag. Also, she does a merchandise too. Rockstar. Next up, T-Rag. What do you think is the biggest need in the draft of the other 3 NFC North teams? So, Bears, quarterback. The Packers, probably wide receiver. Yeah, wide receiver. And then Lions, cornerback. I mean, with Slay gone. Yeah, but in all seriousness, with the Bears, probably secondary, cornerback, as well as get another safety there besides Eddie Jackson. Travis. What do you think about Sandejo's time with the Vikings? Personally thought he was kind of underrated. I agree, where he got a lot of flack because when the Zimmer defense was actually really good, He was the weak link, even though he was really damn good. He has career season 2017, where if you're 11th out of 11 on a great defense, it's whatever. But in terms of a UDFA dude who actually played in the UFL, Sacramento Mountain Lions, coming out of the pride of Rice University. He was actually on the Jets with Rex Ryan and Mike Pettin for a hot second, because I remember him from the book Shallow Low Crossers, Collision Low Crossers. It's a great book. You should go read it, by the way. But yeah, in terms of a guy who worked his way up from practice squad to reserve to becoming a starter, become a pretty decent starter, yeah, you gotta respect what he did. Vincent, favorite thoughts on guard Shane Lemieux from Oregon and the Vikings third, fourth? Yeah, in terms of interior offensive line, like I do like Lemieux. Is he necessarily a perfect fit for what the Vikings want to do? Probably not, but I mean, in terms of late day 2, early day 3 interior offensive lineman, that's where the bread's gonna be buttered this year. Brett Fuzelos, do you want to get new jerseys? If they want full on old school, sort of like what the Browns did, sure, but if not, no. Lastly, Eric Hansen, hear me out. Vikings don't wide receiver draft, barring something crazy. No OBJ in this now. So he wants like 9 tight ends. I say to that. All right, so that's actually it, because I'm starving, because we're talking about snacks. I'm going to go get me an apple with some peanut butter. But again, thank you guys. Thank you, Jeromes, for coming on the live stream. We'll be back again tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time. Rock this thing on out. Hopefully less OBJ news, but, it is what it is. If you want to hit that join box, support independent work, do that up. And that is all. Skull, production value.